Hey, I'm Cameron McKenzie, and I want to show you how to permanently remove Git branches. And I'm talking about removing them from your local environment, remove the remote tracking references, and maybe even remove them from your remote repository like Git, GitHub, or GitLab. Now I've got a GitHub repository here called Git Branch Examples, and I've cloned it over here to my local workspace. But before I start working with Git or GitLab or Bitbucket or anything like that, let me just run a git status command. You can see I'm on the release branch. You know what? I'm going to move over to the main branch just because it's a nice place to be. And I want to say if you want to actually delete a branch that you've just created locally, it couldn't be easier. So you can create a branch locally. So I can say git branch my branch. This will create a new branch called my branch. I can say git switch to my branch. And you can see that indeed I am on my branch. To delete a branch, all you have to do is git branch -d and say my branch. Now, I'm doing this here intentionally because this actually isn't going to work, because it's going to say, well, you can't delete a branch when you're actually on that branch. So I'm going to switch over to the main branch again and then run that command again, git branch -d or --delete my branch. And then that deletes the branch. So if I do a git branch -a now, you'll see there's no reference to my branch anymore. So if the question is, how do you delete a branch? Well, the answer to that question is git branch -d or --delete, the name of the branch, and it deletes it, so long as you're not on the branch when you are trying to actually do the deletion. Okay, but things get a little bit more complicated if you are trying to delete branches that are also on GitHub. So look, I've got a local reference to release and development, and release and development branches are cloned. There's release and there's development from GitHub. So how do I delete those branches locally and from GitHub as well? Because you can see if I do that git branch --delete and say I want to delete the release branch, well, that deletes it locally. So git branch -a, you can see that that release git branch is removed, but that don't do anything up here. The other problem, right? So we've still got that development branch right there. We've still got the release branch right there. And what did we delete? We deleted the release branch locally. But so two things are problematic. One is the remote reference still exists, and secondly, the branch still exists over on GitHub. So we can delete the remote reference. The deletion of the remote reference in my local environment just means this: git branch --remotes --delete, and then it's going to be origin and then the branch name. So what is the branch name? The branch name is release that we are focusing on. And of course, you have to spell these things correctly and use the correct number of dashes when you use the full word, 2 with a full word, 1 with an abbreviation. But this should delete the release branch, the remote tracking branch that I have locally for the release branch. So if I do the git branch -a command, you notice that the reference to the remote tracking branch release here is no longer here. Now, again, if I go to GitHub over here, you can see the release branch is still there. So if you actually want to delete that remote branch, well, you got to do a little bit of extra work. You've actually got to do a push. And so now I'm going to delete this release branch over on GitHub. The command to do that is git push origin --delete and then release for the name of the branch. That runs, it says that it actually deleted that release branch on the server. And now if I do a refresh over on GitHub, you can actually see that that release branch is gone. Now, one of the other things that's worth mentioning, if you actually do that git push origin --delete, that command will actually also delete your remote tracking branch as well. So if I did this particular command first, I would not have had to explicitly delete the remote tracking branch. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, this is all happening from the client. So I'm removing all these branches from the client. I'm removing it from the local machine, and then I am making sure that the server, the GitHub server, has its branches deleted as well. But you can just as easily delete branches from GitHub. So for example, I've got this development branch here. I could go in and I could delete this branch at any time that I wanted. So I can go view all branches. There's the development branch. I can click this red garbage can right here, and this will delete that branch on the server. So now the development branch is deleted. However, even if I do a git fetch or git pull, if I take a look at all of the different branches that I have on my local machine, notice the remote tracking branch is still there, and the local branch for development is here as well. Even though up on GitHub, all of those have been deleted, I can do a refresh and you can see that development branch is no longer on the server. Well, to synchronize your remote tracking branches, what you have to do is you have to do a git fetch -- prune. With this prune, the remote tracking branch for development will go away. And you can see that that development branch, which had a remote tracking branch earlier, is now no longer in existence. However, I still have the local branch. And so to really permanently remove that branch, I need to explicitly do it here as well. And that's just a matter of saying git branch -d development. And now, when I do git branch -a, git branch -d development. Oh, then it says it's not fully merged. And so you can always do a force. So git branch -d development and then -big D. That just does that's a delete with a force, and that now deletes it permanently. Now, if I take a look at that branch, you can see, yeah, I no longer have the remote tracking branch, and I no longer have the local branch, and that development branch is no longer over here on the GitHub server either. So that is a couple of approaches, one top down, I guess you could say, from GitHub or GitLab down to the client, the other one from bottom up, from the client up to GitHub or GitLab, your remote server. But that's how you remove Git branches permanently. Now, if you enjoyed that tutorial, head over to theserverside.com. I'm the editor-in-chief over there. We got lots of great tutorials on Git, GitHub, GitLab, DevOps tools, continuous integration, and enterprise software development in general. If you're interested in my personal antics, follow me on Twitter at CameronMCNZ, and please subscribe on the YouTube.